On one of my most recent episodes, I did a detail of my black Insignia. Now I'm going to do 2 more vehicles because I've been very happy using the Meguiar's kit and there's some left. So I actually have a van from work and I have my dad's car here, which both of them have scratches on. So let me show you what we're working with. This is the before with the van. You can see there's a lot of scratches around the wheel arch. I think someone had hit a post at some point, and then you have a few scratches on the side. If you do end up finding this video helpful, then please like the video, and you can see here that we've got the final results. So it's got out vast majority of the scratches. However, there are a few of the deep scratches left which would need painting. And in the paint reflection, you can see my car if you're a regular viewer of the channel. And here's a recap. So you can see that there's a lot of scratches in the paintwork, and if you run your finger along and you can't feel any texture, then you've got a good chance that the scratches will buff out. The video isn't sponsored and I paid my own money for the products. The links for what I've used are in the description, and at the end of the video I'll leave a QR code where you can scan that with your phone and you can see what I've used. The van is only 2 years old and it's pretty obvious that it's not been looked after too well, and I had to reattach a few little bits and bobs. Expectations. So these ones are far too deep for the paste, so you can see that it's gone through the metal, and then you've got the kind of primer a little bit on here. So you've got the metal, primer, then you've got a nice light scratch, and then it goes on to the actual paintwork. So it's like layered up on multiple layers. But yeah, there's no chance these are going to come out. These small ones might, but yeah, these... They're far too deep. You can't buff the paint if there's no paint. These would need like painting and filling. This is after the process, so it's cleaned up the finer and medium scratches pretty well. Of course, the deep scratches are still there. One of my next episodes is going to be about the stone chip repairs and scratches, because I've just brought one of those 3-in-1 kits. So if you subscribe, then you will see that video. Let me quickly walk you through what you get in the box. So I paid my own money for this, by the way, but yeah, you get the ScratchX paste, you get microfiber cloth, and you get the drill attachment, which makes removing the scratches super quick and super easy. First, we're going to prepare the paint surface. So we're going to clean it with just water with the jet wash. Then we're going to do the snow foam lance again by Meguiar's, using the gold class soap because it doesn't contain any wax on there. So we're going to get a nice, clean, smooth surface to work with. As the van doesn't fit in the back garden and my dad has scratches on his car, we're going to be doing both vehicles. So this is the scratch on his car. The preparation is exactly the same of what we're going to be doing, and we will be jumping back and forth between both vehicles as I'm going through this vehicle and the demonstration. So this is after, so I've done the polish much better. There's a few little scratches there which have gone in too deep for the paint, but it does look much better. We want a nice clean surface, so we're not rubbing any dirt and grit into the paintwork. So we're just spraying it with water, and then we're using the Meguiar's Gold Class Snow Foam Lance, and then we're going to give it a quick scrub, and then another rinse off, and then we'll dry it off. So it basically takes no effort at all. As for the economy of scale here, so for 100 ml of soap, you fill up the rest with water. So to do one car, I basically used half on my last video. Now I've only used like a third of what it's left. Now we're going to rinse it off. Then I'm going to go and do the van. Exactly the same situation with the rinse, snow foam, wash, and then dry. And then we'll go on to the machine polishing. It doesn't take long, but I use a chair because I got a bad knee. But all you do is you load up the drill, make sure you got batteries on. And then what I like to do is make a little pattern like so. But yeah, if you like the video, that'd be great. Then all you do is you place it on like around. Check this out. So you place it on like so. There we go. And then you push the drill on. I need 2 hands for this. All right, so the paste is on. All you do is you just take your time. Don't press too hard on it. Let the drill do the work. I'm just going to speed up the footage just so the video doesn't get too long, but you just basically work it around and you'll see that the scratches are being removed. And then we're going to give it a little wipe with the microfiber cloth which came with it. And then we've got quite a lot of the scratches out, but we're going to do another blast and see how it goes. So this is designed for fine and light scratches, things like the bush marks. This vehicle has actually hit a post, which is why there's a dent in there. So the paint is laid up of a primer, You got the metal, the primer, and then you have the actual paintwork, and then you have a clear coat on there. And basically if it's scraped through to the kind of paintwork and the primer, then you'll see the lines still, and then you'll need a different type of repair kit. I'll speed up the footage just so the video doesn't get too long, and after we've done the car we'll go back to the van. Once you've used the polishing pad, wipe it over with a microfiber cloth. You might want to use a wet one and then dry one, but this is the results from the process. The majority of the scratches have been removed. As 3 very fine ones, and unless you're actually looking for them you wouldn't really notice them. I really appreciate it if you like the video, and if you have friends who have got scratches in their paintwork you may want to share the video with them. Let's head over to the van. So you can see there's a big scratch along the side, and as we make our way back to the wheel arches you have a lot of scratches around there. This vehicle is actually from a production company that I work for, and somebody obviously has not driven it correctly. But you can see there's tons of scratches all over the vehicle, and one of the trim pieces at the bottom door is missing. It was in the cockpit and I did reattach it, but you can see the mirrors. If you did skip ahead, so this is the ScratchX paste on a polishing pad from the Meguiar's kit, and all you do is you pat it on and then you start working it around. When you're buffering it, the paste becomes a little bit more transparent as you're going along, so it starts to get thinner and thinner, and you can really see what you've done. While I was doing this job, I noticed down the street there was an undercover police car, and the police were actually watching me while I was doing this. So when people break into the vans, they actually drill the locks. So from an angle, it just looks like that's what I'm doing. This is the result of the first round of polishing. So you can see that it's done a very, very good job, and there's a very fine line scratch along the side. Once I did the second round, it completely disappeared. When I picked up the van from the production company, the first thing that caught my eye was the back wheel arch. Anytime I pick up a vehicle from a company, I always film it just in case they get back to me and say, hey, you've damaged it. At least that way I can cover myself and say, this is how I collected it. And this is how I did pick it up. So the big scratch along the side, which is now gone. And of course the wheel arch that I'm currently working on, and then we'll go to the finished results. The footage is from the following day after driving 250 miles to do the collection job, and this is how I dropped it off. So you can see the wheel arches still had a little bit of damage, but nowhere near as what it was. The scratches along the side have totally disappeared. If you're a regular viewer, you may recognize the car in the reflection. That is my 2009 Insignia, and if you are new to the channel, then I do a lot of car repair videos on that particular vehicle, whether it's oil changes, brake changes, cleaning the EGR valve. I've done a whole bunch of projects. The next one is fixing deeper scratches and stone chips, so if you want to subscribe you'll see that next time. The production company was super happy. It's got me a lot of brownie points, that's for sure. I've only worked 30 days this year and I'm filming this in June, so I really do need the work, so hopefully it will lead on to other things. This gig was nice and easy. Pick up something on a Tuesday and drop it off in Manchester. Keep the van on Wednesday, and then Thursday go and collect it. That's all I had to do. So the Wednesday I basically didn't really have anything to do, which is why I decided to go ahead and give the van a good clean. If you do want to have a little go yourself, the product links are in the description below at no additional cost to you. With deep scratches you can feel with your thumbnail, you're not going to get them out, so you do need to kind of paint them in. Thanks for sticking around and liking the video if you have. Welcome back if you're a subscriber, and welcome if you are new. The links for any of the products that I've used in the video are in the description below, but you've got the QR code at the top at no extra cost to you. But thanks for watching, thanks for being fans.